Roman Reigns is not winning the Royal Rumble. Solo Sikoa makes Jacob Fatu the leader. Finn Balor shares an unfortunate update following street fight on Raw. The real reasons for WWE Raw Netflix issues. Charlotte Flair drops a huge return update. Seth Rollins is turning heel. Tama Tonga teases a huge secret betrayal. Let's dive right in. Solo Sikoa makes Jacob Fatu the leader. Solo Sikoa competed against Roman Reigns in a tribal combat match on the January 6, 2025 episode of WWE Raw. It was the Red Brand's debut episode on Netflix, and the highly anticipated bout was the first match of the show. Roman Reigns picked up the victory, and The Rock placed the Ula Fala around his neck following the match. Sikoa did not appear on this past Friday's episode of SmackDown, but it was advertised that he would be returning on next week's show. Number 1. Solo Sikoa could renounce his place in the Bloodline on WWE SmackDown. Solo Sikoa attempted to make himself the new tribal chief after Roman Reigns lost the undisputed WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40 last year. Reigns returned to the promotion at SummerSlam 2024 and interfered in Sikoa's match against the American Nightmare, which cost him the opportunity to become champion. Sikoa could make a stunning announcement following his loss to Reigns in the tribal combat match. He could reveal that he is no longer the leader of the new version of the Bloodline following the loss, and begin a new journey as a singles star. Number 2. He could acknowledge Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. On the episode of SmackDown before the tribal combat match, Solo Sikoa interrupted Paul Heyman and informed the WWE Hall of Famer that he wanted him ringside for the match. Sikoa added that if he won tribal combat, Heyman would serve as his wiseman forever. However, the Bloodline star also noted that he would acknowledge Roman Reigns as his tribal chief if he lost the match. The veteran could hold to his word on SmackDown this Friday night and officially acknowledge Reigns as his tribal chief. Number 3. Sikoa could apologize to Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman refused to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as his tribal chief on the June 28, 2024 episode of WWE SmackDown at Madison Square Garden in New York. The Hall of Famer paid for the decision dearly and was powerbombed through the announce table by the Bloodline. After coming up short in the tribal combat match, Sikoa may have done some self-reflection and realized that he was in the wrong for attacking the legend. The 31-year-old could apologize to Heyman this Friday night on WWE SmackDown in the hopes of making amends with him. Number 4. He may make Jacob Fatu the leader of the new Bloodline. Jacob Fatu has showcased immense loyalty to Solo Sikoa as his tribal chief and may be rewarded for his dedication. Sikoa could have Fatu and Tama Tonga come to the ring with him on WWE SmackDown this Friday night for a major announcement. The veteran may announce that he has failed as the leader of the Bloodline and inform Fatu that he is now the leader of the faction. Sikoa could then go back to serving as the enforcer of the new version of the Bloodline. Finn Balor shares an unfortunate update following street fight on Raw. Finn Balor shared an update today following a grueling street fight this past Monday night on WWE Raw. The veteran squared off against Damian Priest in the main event of this week's episode of The Red Brand. Priest put Balor through a table with a broken arrow, and the Judgment Day star was put on a stretcher. However, the former World Heavyweight Champion attacked the Prince on the stretcher and wheeled him back to the ring. The Archer of Infamy eventually won by hitting a South of Heaven chokeslam. Balor took to social media today to share an update following the match. The Judgment Day has not been on the same page in recent weeks. Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio have been arguing with each other for a while, and now Liv Morgan is upset with the former North American champion. Rhea Ripley used to be in a storyline relationship with Mysterio, but he betrayed her last year at SummerSlam. Last week on WWE Raw, Ripley defeated Morgan to become the new Women's World Champion. Dirty Dom attempted to reconnect with the Eradicator after her victory and went for a hug, but she hit him with a low blow. Mysterio tried to apologize to the Miracle Kid this past Monday on the Red Brand by bringing her flowers. Wrestling legend Vince Russo recently suggested that Damian Priest acted like a heel when he attacked Finn Balor while he was on a stretcher. Speaking on Sportskeeda Wrestling's Legion of Raw podcast, Russo claimed the former World Heavyweight Champion behaved like a heel during the street fight on Raw. The veteran noted that Balor should have been the one doing the attack as he was the heel. Priest was a heel attacking Finn Balor with a neck brace on a stretcher. I mean, they should have done the complete opposite, where Priest turns his back on Balor and Balor gets up, playing possum the whole time. But by the time they finished this, it wasn't a real injury anyway. It wasn't real anyway. Charlotte Flair drops a huge return update. Charlotte Flair is not back in the ring yet after being gone for more than a year. However, she's now shared a huge return update from an interesting WWE location. The Queen was injured in a match back in December 2023, tearing her meniscus, her ACL, and her MCL as well. She's gone through surgery and been in recovery, and in recent months has started to hint that she'll be returning to action. So far, she's not returned, but in a huge positive sign, Charlotte was at a recent WWE show with Lash legend and Jakara Jackson, posting a picture of the three of them together. Now, Charlotte Flair has posted a picture with Norman Smiley, who is one of the trainers in the Performance Center. She put up a caption thanking him for helping her, saying that she loves him. She also said day one, indicating the picture was from her first day of training. In the picture, she's wearing a leg brace as well, and the picture is from an interesting location, the Performance Center. Day one, love you, Coach Smiley. Given that the Queen is now thanking those who helped her get back in shape, she may be closer than ever to a return to the WWE ring. While nothing has been confirmed, now that it appears Charlotte Flair is healthy once again, fans will have to wait and see when she returns. The perfect timing for the star may be none other than at the Royal Rumble itself, given the match is set up for such returns. This year's Rumble will be a stacked affair, and there's no telling whether Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton will still hold their championships by the time WrestleMania 41 rolls around, making the path to the show of shows unpredictable. Whether Flair can reclaim her place at the top of the women's division remains to be seen, but it seems that her return to action is not too far away. The real reasons for WWE Raw Netflix issues. The WWE Raw Netflix era is moving forward with significant momentum as WrestleMania 41 season approaches. The first two episodes of 2025 appear to be successful outings for the most part, but there have been some issues, including one major unresolved problem. Speculation is rampant over what might happen next week, but sources have just revealed a plethora of scoops on the matter. Vince McMahon made the controversial decision to take Raw to 3 hours years back. A brief return to 2 hours was made last year, but Raw is now back to 3 hours on Netflix. In the lead-up to this new era, there was excitement over the expected additional freedom when it comes to overruns and how Raw ends. No hard-outs, more leeway and flexibility, plus less censorship, were all seen as major perks by WWE. With the first 2 episodes in the books, one of the more prominent issues, internally and among fans, has to do with Raw's length and ending. Penta arrived in WWE this week, defeating Chad Gable in a match that went long, as did the post-match promo. This led to time being shaved from other segments, which brought unfortunate backstage rumors and reports. The episode ended at around 10:30 p.m. ET, which is earlier than the premiere that ended right after 11 p.m. Amid conflicting information, PW Insider now reports that the finish was by design. WWE sources have reiterated that they do, in fact, have much more flexibility when it comes to the end of Raw. The runtimes of the premiere and this week's episode were planned as officials decided to time out the shows to fit when they wanted to go off the air. While it is true that WWE no longer has to deal with a hard-out at 11 p.m., officials do not want to go over each week. It was noted that once an episode is timed out for a certain length, if they go past that runtime for whatever reason, then officials will do what they can to bring it back into their desired time frame. With this week's show planned for 10:30 p.m. Ahead of time, the decision was made to cut other segments down once Penta vs. Gable went long, amid major concerns for Penta's injury status. It's unlikely WWE will add any significant time to a show just because they are behind. Venue costs and talent travel were among the key factors in this week's Raw runtime. Officials wanted to avoid any overtime fees that could have been added to the arena rental, the local staff used for the taping, and their own staff. Furthermore, there was a goal of ending early enough on West Coast time, so talents and staff would still be able to catch their red-eye flights back home. Dark matches for the live crowd in San Jose also played a big role in this week's finish. WWE wanted to get 2 planned post-show dark matches out and done, and then wanted the overall taping to end within a manageable time frame. PW Insider pointed to how the Netflix premiere was treated like a pay-per-view, or PLE, while this week saw things return to somewhat normal. This week's dark matches saw Bayley defeat Nia Jax, and LA Knight defeat United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura by DQ. WWE also taped 2 main event matches before Raw, Pure Fusion Collective versus Katana Chance and Caden Carter, plus Pete Dunne versus Joaquin Wilde. Fightful Select noted that the timing did not come as a surprise, as officials had the dark matches planned for several days and wanted to keep them on the lineup. Backstage sources also noted in this report that Raw does not have an official length moving forward, whether it's 3 hours or 2.5. However, the company will have a runtime in mind that they will try to meet each week, which is in line with the aforementioned report. Netflix has a brief FAQ for new fans, and it's interesting how they included a line about the weekly runtime. In answering a question on how long Raw runs, the streaming juggernaut stated that this is a 3-hour extravaganza, but some weeks will have a longer runtime now that the show is live on Netflix. The website does not mention episodes running under 3 hours. Multiple sources have reiterated that WWE does have more freedom with Raw times now, and that they were really trying to end this week's loaded live Red Brand episode in around 2.5 hours. The Fightful Select report seemingly confirmed the other update, noting that internal claims were that some talents were trying to confirm that they would be able to catch a flight out of San Jose to go back home. Seth Rollins is turning heel. All Seth Rollins has today are broken promises made to the WWE Universe. CM Punk ended him in the main event of Raw's Netflix premiere. Seth Rollins fumbled at the opportunity to humble the best in the world. This curious decision by Triple H and his band of creatives prompted former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. to wonder whether the architect is due for a heel turn. Speaking on his podcast Wrestling with Freddie, Freddie Prinze Jr. praised the grudge match from last week, but admitted that the result caught him off guard. He claimed that as a former writer for the company, he was taught that a babyface who made bold statements the way Seth did could only go one way, a babyface win. But since Rollins lost, perhaps the game has other plans. I thought CM Punk should have lost that match. I thought it should have been Seth Rollins. I could already see the promo Seth was going to cut on Monday. You son of a b. I did what I said I was going to do. And now, all the promises that Seth made in his promos are broken promises. A babyface can't have that. At least that's how I was taught. So, I guess, maybe they're going to turn him heel. Seth Rollins interrupted CM Punk's opening promo on this week's Raw. Drew McIntyre followed. All three bitter rivals engaged in a war of words. Each one declared their participation in the Men's Royal Rumble on February 1st. Interestingly, the Scottish psychopath's decision to enter the Rumble did not have anything to do with Punk or Rollins specifically. He has become obsessed with getting back at the Bloodline, who broke his dream of winning the WWE title on his home turf 2 years ago, which sparked a curse for the Scot. Drew McIntyre wants to stop Roman Reigns, whose participation in the Rumble was declared by the Wise Men on Friday. Seth Rollins wants to stop CM Punk. As for the best in the world, all he wants to do is main event the grandest spectacle in the wrestling industry for the first time in his career. Following the confrontation as seen in the clip above, WWE announced a singles match between the Architect and the Scottish Psychopath for next week's Raw. The WrestleMania 40 Rewind match has already created significant buzz for the upcoming episode. Tama Tonga teases a huge secret betrayal. Tama Tonga has sent an unexpected message. This could mean huge changes in the bloodline in WWE. Tonga has been part of WWE for some time now, and has made somewhat of an unorthodox impression during his career in the company over the past year. He's shown a rather crazed side, and left fans confused but thoroughly entertained while making strange noises along the way. A fan has now posted a gif of Tama Tonga from the past, and the star has responded, potentially teasing a huge secret betrayal. The fan posted a gif of Tama Tonga throwing a championship away in a hallway. This was before he arrived in WWE. Tonga responded and commented on it, saying, "Shh," and also, "Yeet." Given that this is the common phrase used by Jey Uso, some fans have considered that he may be teasing a huge betrayal of Solo Sikoa. The latter was not present on last week's SmackDown, and neither Jacob Fatu nor Tonga referred to him, and went around, uncontrolled, and attacking everyone instead. Given that his loss means that Sikoa is no longer the tribal chief, they may no longer be loyal to him. On the other hand, Tonga could have just said yeet because he threw the title in the GIF. However, the shushing emoji and quote appears to indicate that there's more to the story. Yeet, shh. Fans will have to stay tuned to find out if there's been a secret betrayal in the bloodline. Solo Sikoa is set to be a part of this upcoming episode of WWE SmackDown. However, fans are not certain of the greeting he'll receive from Tonga and Jacob Fatu. With the rumors of a betrayal coming, Sikoa may need to establish his dominance once again after the incidents of the last few weeks. Roman Reigns is not winning the Royal Rumble. The 2025 Royal Rumble is WWE's next massive premium live event. The big show is set to take place in a matter of weeks, as it will air live from Indianapolis, Indiana on February 1st. Multiple matches are scheduled for the show. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens will have a ladder match, and there are 2 Royal Rumble matches. One will feature 30 men competing, and the other will feature 30 women clashing. As far as the men's Royal Rumble match goes, the bout looks stacked beyond belief. John Cena, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk have already declared they will enter the bout. Many naturally assume that Roman Reigns will be the victor. He is often the most pushed star in world wrestling entertainment, so it is a reasonable assumption. Still, he shouldn't and likely won't win the bout. The first indicator that Roman Reigns won't win the men's Royal Rumble match to headline WWE WrestleMania has to do with a story beginning to brew. Roman is seemingly set to feud with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns aren't strangers. They feuded together a few years ago back when Reigns was the undisputed WWE champion and the top heel in the company. Roman and the Bloodline made Drew's life miserable and he hasn't forgotten. Fast forward to 2025, and Drew is a self-proclaimed Bloodline hunter. He has already attempted to or successfully beat up Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Jimmy Uso. He has since made it clear he will not allow Roman Reigns to win the world title again. Drew's promise is a clear sign that Roman won't win the Men's Royal Rumble match. McIntyre will stop his chances by any means necessary, which will then likely lead to the two clashing at an event such as Elimination Chamber. The Royal Rumble match is one of the most prestigious in history. Nearing 40 years of history, the bout has featured some of WWE's greatest stars. The very best of the best have even won the bout. The likes of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Bret Hart, and even Roman Reigns have won the coveted WWE match in the past. That, however, is a clear sign as to why Roman might not win this year. While there have been repeat winners in the past, it isn't super common, especially 2 years in a row. Cody Rhodes is a repeat winner and won last year. Roman has won once before, in 2015, which means that it would be 2 years in a row of repeat winners, and that feels like a mistake. To keep things fresh, Roman shouldn't and likely won't win. The final sign that Roman Reigns won't win the Men's Royal Rumble match at the 2025 WWE Royal Rumble comes down to WrestleMania plans. It simply wouldn't make sense for the OTC to win the bout unless he's in a world title match. Heading into WrestleMania season, many believed that the Tribal Chief would fight The Rock at the Show of Shows. Now, however, fans aren't sure if The Rock will appear. Instead, many now think Roman and CM Punk will go at it in some epic WrestleMania main event. If he isn't facing Cody Rhodes or Gunther, or whoever dethrones either man before WrestleMania, then there is no point for Roman to win the Royal Rumble. Instead, both he and CM Punk losing would be a far more likely and obvious outcome.